What would you do if your identity was constantly questioned and invalidated? In today's story, the protagonist's choice is a masterclass in how to handle it. My brother, Daniel, who is 30, is married to Haley, 29, and they're expecting their first baby together. Last year, when I was 17, I officially changed my first name from Evelyn to Indy, which was a nickname derived from my original middle name. My parents eventually agreed after realizing how serious I was about embracing Indy and how I simply wasn't connecting with Evelyn anymore. Daniel and Haley were set on an older, vintage name for their baby. About 5 months ago, Haley first asked me why I disliked Evelyn enough to change it. She brought up how popular the name Evelyn had become and how vintage names were making a comeback. I simply told her I didn't care for vintage names and that to me, Evelyn sounded really old-fashioned. I also clarified that its popularity didn't influence my decision. She pressed further, wanting to know my specific reasons for disliking older names and why I preferred something like Indy. I didn't mind her asking the first time. A week later, she brought it up again, asking the exact same question and pressing even more for my reasons. Then she asked a third and a fourth time. Each time, I gave her the same answer and politely asked her why she kept inquiring. I even told her my answer wasn't going to change. It was baffling. Her persistence was truly unsettling. Her behavior is really weird, one person astutely observed. Why ask repeatedly? And what's it to her? Whether you choose to use Evelyn or Indy? It has nothing to do with her or her baby. I don't understand why she's so obsessed with your name. By the 7th time she asked, Haley finally admitted her worry. She was concerned her baby would hate having an older name and wanted to understand what she could do to prevent a situation similar to mine from happening to her child. She also expressed a desire for me to reconsider my name, stating she found Evelyn beautiful and was sad I had chosen something like Indy over it. I asked her to stop so many times. I lost count. I even pleaded with Daniel to intervene and make her stop. His response was dismissive. He told me I needed to understand that it was the hormones. The sheer volume of her questioning was relentless. I can easily say she has asked me this more than 25 times by now, and I am not exaggerating that number. 2 weeks ago, she brought it up again, declaring that she felt I had made a mistake changing my name and that my 30-year-old self wouldn't be so against Evelyn. I retorted that my 30-year-old self could deal with it if that were the case. She then launched into a critique of my choice, telling me I didn't really have a good reason to like Indy, and that Indy seemed like a name someone young would like, but not someone older. You don't need her good reason to change your name, just your good reason to change your name, a commenter wisely pointed out. Then, yesterday, I finally lost my temper. She started with the same line of questioning. The baby is almost here, so I know this torment is nearing its end, but she asked me to really think about why and to help her, because she couldn't figure out what she'd do differently than my parents did. And then, the ultimate insult, she said they really shouldn't have let me change my name so young. That was it. I snapped. I told her to stop asking me the same question because my answer wasn't going to change, and her comments certainly weren't going to change my mind, especially because I genuinely dislike old-fashioned names. My voice was firm. My patience completely evaporated. I think they're awful, I declared, and I'm sick and tired of hearing about how much better they are and having her try to make me find a reason she finds acceptable. I looked her dead in the eye, my frustration boiling over, and delivered the final blow. Just like you hate Indy, I hate Evelyn, and you need to let it fucking go already. The words hung in the air. Haley's face crumpled, and she burst into tears. Daniel immediately flew into a rage at me. My parents, who had just walked in, also chimed in, asking why I had to speak to her so harshly. One online comment perfectly encapsulated my feelings. After 25 times of the same bullying from her, I would have snapped at her as well, because it is bullying she was doing. For what purpose? Who knows? This reveals Haley's greatest fatal flaw, her self-centeredness and inability to respect boundaries, which ultimately sealed her fate in that moment. The constant questioning had crossed a line from concern into outright harassment. If you reacted like this the very first time she asked, then you'd be a bit of an AH. But, after months of her asking you the same thing over, and over, and over, your reaction is justified, stated one user. Another added, I hate that you must understand it's the pregnancy hormone spiel, being pregnant doesn't give you a free pass to be an AH. The story's core lesson is that constantly disrespecting someone's boundaries and identity will inevitably lead to a breaking point. When do you think it's acceptable for someone to repeatedly disregard a clear boundary, and how would you handle such a situation?